Welcome to the Grumpy Old Gamer Podcast. I am your host, Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Tim.
Hey.
And by Al.
Good evening, or good afternoon.
Good night.
Or good morning, depending where you're at. So today we're talking about the end of exclusivity. That's kind of hard to say. So we're talking about how, there used to be the exclusives where you had Microsoft had their group and Sony had theirs, and Nintendo's always had their own thing. But it seems like we're at the end of an era. Do you guys remember a time, or do you guys remember what it was like in the thick of it when we had the most competition, the most exclusives running around?
Well, being a very old person, I'll jump in here and I'll say that when I think back to the start of my gaming career, you had the choice between Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think that was probably the first exclusivity issue. So it goes back right to the start of console gaming.
I agree. It's very arcade based as well, especially back then. Whoever can get like Namco, like that's an unknown brand that was very exclusive to that, and it's on everything.
What was it exclusive to? As in, it was just arcade
as in
machines?
arcades type thing. Yeah.
So do you think that something being exclusive, is that generally a good or a bad thing?
It was good at the time, and I think we've seen a shift in the market because it was good at the time, because if you had an exclusive game, then that drove sales of your console. And this was a time where you would make money by selling consoles. But as we all know, or should be aware, these days, consoles are sold at a loss. So I think that the PlayStation 5, for example, cost more to make than it costs to buy. So the real value, and certainly, as we discussed in one of the previous episodes, certainly when you look at the amount of money which is in gaming now, the real drive is to sell games. So if you limit, if you are a game studio like Microsoft or like Sony, and you limit who can buy your games, when you know that selling your games is how you make your money, why are you making them exclusive? It doesn't make financial sense.
I wholeheartedly agree, especially at the moment with gaming. Well, it's not exactly cheap these days, and it never has been. But they are going with like Hollywood kind of numbers of like budget per game. So I can see, like, say, I'm going to use Last of Us as like an example. How that was like almost. That was a movie in itself, essentially. At least the first one. Not massive fan of the second one, but that was a massive exclusive. And now people are like going back and forth, and I think, especially Microsoft and Sony, not including Nintendo, are noticing like, hey, look, there's so much money that could be made over there as well. Why not try and get that money? Because they're investing so much into it.
Yeah, and then you have Nintendo who will never, ever, ever play nice and play with the others. Do they have any games that aren't exclusive?
I wouldn't say never. Not everything's exclusive. I mean, can you get Mario on the PC? Can you get certain Mario games on the PC, or can you get like Zelda? Zelda's very much Nintendo, isn't it? Can you get Zelda anywhere else?
You can if you sell the high seas.
Right. Okay. So Nintendo may want to put themselves into a situation where they think that exclusivity is an option, but ultimately they will fall in line with the rest of the industry and realize that you need to be able to sell games.
I don't think they will. This has been like a topic for like 20 years at least now. Nintendo have never really gone out of their way to do that, and I can't see them doing it. I can't see them doing it at all.
Well, you would have said the same about Xbox and Sony.
I would have.
If you think back to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 2, for example, or the original PlayStation, each had their own exclusive titles, and you never would have thought that you would be able to play a Sony title on an Xbox. never in a month of Sundays. You would have said exactly what you're saying now. 20 years ago or 30 years ago, you'd have said exactly the same thing, and you would have been proven wrong. So, are Nintendo right to hold on to their exclusivity, or are they just being stupid, and they need to get with the program?
Well, at this point, it's what they've been doing, and they're not going to change anything. And I think it's interesting how you have Sony and Microsoft who are playing nice with the PC crowd, and a lot of their games where when it jumps and there's cross-platform or it's not exclusive to one particular platform, it's always on the PC. But for Nintendo games, like there is no Nintendo PC love. Like that doesn't exist. Nintendo is very much held on to it, and it's the way that Nintendo's always been, and as far as I can tell, the way they'll always be.
But I suppose Nintendo are doing things in a different way, aren't they? Because their focus is on the Switch, and now the Switch 2, which is a handheld essentially, isn't it? So they are not trying to compete with the PlayStation 5 and with the Xbox Series X or with the PC. We will talk about Steam Deck at another time and other handhelds, but Nintendo are not trying to compete. So I suppose maybe they can maintain that exclusivity purely because they are not attempting to compete with the big boys. They're keeping themselves very, very separate, and maybe doing a really good job of cornering that market.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, you look at like their past. Since the GameCube, what have we had? We've had the Wii, we've had the Wii U, we've had the Switch, and then the Switch 2. They're all very niche, to put it bluntly. And I guess the only thing that we've had like as a comparison is, as you said, like the Steam Deck, but that's another conversation for another day. But that's the closest competitor that we've had.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly a conversation for today, but just in a little bit. So.
Oh, okay, valid point.
So let me ask you guys a question. Is it fair to say that consoles are dying? Do you see that happening?
I think it's probably a bit of a stretch to say that they're dying, and I think that you're going to see a serious uptick in consoles when GTA 6 launches. So I think that to say that they're dying is a bit of a. I think that their grip on gaming is changing and it's loosening. Or just be a point that consoles were the entry point to gaming, and then if you were serious, you got a PC. But now it's not. The entry point for gaming is smartphones and tablets and things like that, and then maybe the Switch, and then maybe a console after that. People have been saying that consoles have been dying for decades.
I do think you're completely right with that. Like, yeah, everybody's been saying it for God knows how long. We can't really say jack, in all honesty, as PC gamers, but I've been looking at like say the latest like Xbox releases and stuff like that. They're no longer hyping their console. They're going for like, hey, look at this live service. Hey, look at our Game Pass type thing, and you can run this on whatever you want type thing, rather than, hey, here's the new Xbox.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they've given up on the Xbox. I mean, it seems like they're fully embracing the cloud gaming, and there might not be a next generation Xbox.
I don't think there will be, mate, in all honesty.
Really? Why not?
I'm pretty sure
Sorry, go on.
there's going to be a PS6, and Nintendo's always going to have something, but I really feel like Xbox is kind of dipping out of it, and they're focusing on their live service, and they're focusing on the cloud, and they're focusing on the Game Pass as their main thing. Instead of like pushing it where, hey, buy this console for $500 and a game for $50-$60 here and there, they're just trying to have it where, well, just pay us $15-$20 a month, and then you have access to all the games. And that's how, and they're just, and that just really, that just seems to be, to me, that seems what their current model is for how they've shifted in the past couple of years.
But there's always going to be a desire for consoles. Which is why another conversation we'll have later in this episode is about the Steam, the Valve's console, which has been rumoured. So there's always going to be a desire for people to have consoles and to sit on their sofa with a joypad and have a big TV console experience. That's never going to go away. So I don't think it's a case of consoles are dying. I think because people are always going to want to have that opportunity. I think that it's evolving rather than dying, because you've got a situation where the likes of Microsoft are realizing that, as we've said, consoles are sold at a loss, very typically, or very near to the cost of the manufacturing cost is how much you would pay for a console. They don't make their money. Game companies do not make their money through hardware. They make their money through software, and that is becoming more and more apparent as we go on. So Microsoft doesn't need to make consoles to be a successful game company. And if you get to the point where producing the Xbox costs them more than it makes them, then you will be at the point where they stop making them.
I think you're completely right. I mean, I have a feeling. This probably sounds a bit harsh, but I have a feeling like more like the Asian market. It definitely seems more predominantly kind of console, so Sony, Nintendo, stuff like that. Whereas the Western market, say Xbox, well, I mean Microsoft, who owns everything, they're kind of just shifting slightly away from a console in itself and like, hey, look, here's a tablet, link it to or stream on your TV or monitor, whatever, you know?
Yeah, and because I mean, the definition of what a console is starting to shift, because it used to be this big, huge, bulky, black, 60-pound monstrosity that you'd have to plug in, and now it's getting to the point where you have the Switch too, where you can have the screen on the actual console and then just put it in the little dock and then watch it on the big screen. So I think that the console, it might evolve completely in a different form, but I think that in its current form, the way that it is now, where you go out and you buy it for like a couple $100, I think that's gonna be going away across the board eventually.
I agree as well. I think as well, like, not just exclusivity, because that seems to be fading away, at least two major companies at least. I think it's also convenience. I think it's a lot easier to have a tablet that has Game Pass on, and then stream it to your like TV, rather than going back to like one of our last episodes about LAN pies and stuff like that, dragging a TV with like console and stuff like that to someone else's house, when you can have it like essentially on your phone or a tablet, you know?
Just on the point where you said Microsoft isn't going to produce a console, Windows Central said it is fully greenlit by Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. The console is reportedly a premium successor to the Xbox Series X, and this console, alongside a first-party Xbox gaming handheld and new controllers, are set to round out Microsoft's console offering in 2027. So they're not going to produce a successor to the Series S, which is the less powerful one, but they are planning a new Xbox to succeed the Series X, alongside a handheld which is presumably going to take the place of the Series S and therefore challenge the Switch 2, and also challenge the Steam Deck.
And that's the thing. I didn't even realise they were even going to be doing another console. All I've been hearing from Microsoft is like the potential of like handheld, and like we've got all this exclusive stuff just by Game Pass, and then use this app, and then whoop, you know.
Xbox President Sarah Bond said that Microsoft was moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware. So there is going to be a new Xbox. So I don't know where you got your bullshit ideas from there, man.
I didn't say it was bullshit ideas. I just didn't realise there was another console. All I've been hearing from them is like, we want to make it more Game Pass oriented than console oriented.
So, so as we were saying, it doesn't make any sense to not produce a console. And this idea, this notion that consoles are dying, is purely a notion which people have been saying since time immemorial. It's always been something which has been peddled, that consoles are dying and never going to be any consoles. Clearly there's a market for console gaming, and Microsoft clearly want to have their shot at it. But when we talk about the evolution, this is not a case of consoles are going to be their primary focus. It's the games that they sell, and this is why you see Game Pass, where you can sign up for Microsoft Game Pass, and you can play all of the games on Xbox or on PC, because they've realised that cross-platform or multi-platform is the way forward in order to be successful with business. And Nintendo are trying to hold on to their little corner of the market of handhelds, because they know that they can't compete in the console space.
Well, it seems like the battleground's just shifting over to handhelds from consoles. Because if you have the Steam Deck, you have the Switch, and if you have Xbox doing whatever they're doing, then maybe we're just kicking it like a Game Boy.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, because I know what's the PlayStation 5 one called, where you can play it, but it requires...
Oh, the PSP.
Oh, yeah, the one where
No,
you
not-
put
not
your
not the
smartphone
PSP.
in the middle.
No, what's it called? It's the PlayStation Portable is the very old one, isn't it? It's almost like it's almost like cloud based. It uses the processing power of the. You must have a PlayStation 5 to be able to use this PlayStation handheld, and I forget what it's called, because I'm not. A friend of mine has one, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I know exactly. I can't think of the name either, but can't you separate your controller, put your smartphone in, log into your PlayStation, and then you're just playing it as a handheld essentially? But I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called.
PlayStation Portal.
And PlayStation also has their cloud-based service, and the way that one works is that if you have a PlayStation, in another room or whatever, you can stream from that PlayStation to your PC, and I use that service a lot. And in that one, the raw processing power is coming from the PlayStation that you have in the house. But a big thing that's coming out, what they want to push, is the cloud gaming, where the power is all outside. It's in some server factory, wherever, somewhere.
See, now that reminds me of something that I must admit I beta tested, back in the day, and it was called Steam Link, where you plug it into your computer, into your TV, and then it takes all the processing power of your computer. I mean, this was 10 years ago at least.
I remember that.
And then you play it on your TV downstairs as if it was a console. For what it's worth, back in the day, that was great innovation. But then they just went to the Steam Deck, and then it's just exclusive to that now.
So let's talk a little bit about the Steam Deck. Do you guys think that has been a success? And if so, how is that going to shape the future for other handhelds?
I think it's been a massive success. I think it's given people the power of a decent computer. I mean, I know it's only 720, or unless you get to the big boy one, which is 1080. But you've got a decent computer in your hands with Steam library. What isn't to have a go at that? That's just my thoughts on that one, mate. There's not much more to say.
So when you look at a console nowadays, it's kind of really restrictive, right? It's basically like you have a PC in a big plastic box, but you can't change or upgrade any of the parts. You can't update the RAM, can't do any, more memory. You can't do any of that. Well, I guess let me take that back. You can get more memory if you plug in external hard drive or whatever. That's another reason why I see the consoles kind of dying a little bit, is just because that restriction where, if you get a PC, you're free to put whatever you want in there and upgrade anytime you want, versus a PlayStation 5. There's nothing I can do for my PlayStation 5. And if I want to upgrade, I have to wait for the PlayStation 6.
Okay, but are there any games that I can't play on my PlayStation 5? And I'm not talking about exclusives. I'm talking about physically, as in, is there any game that my PlayStation 5 would not be able to run?
I would think not.
So therefore, does that not just kind of blow away the argument that, I can upgrade my PC? Well, so what? I don't need to upgrade my PlayStation. I'm being devil's advocate. I'm being difficult for a reason, because I think that there's this entire notion of the PC master race. It kind of pisses me off, and I am an exclusive PC player. I have an Xbox Series S, which I bought to play with my kid, and I've played it. I think I've plugged it in once and never bothered with it. Just sat collecting dust. So I am a PC gamer completely. But this notion that PC gamers are somehow superior to console gamers, it kind of pisses me off a little bit, because we're all gamers and we're all part of the same fraternity. You know, we all want to enjoy games.
And once again, as per usual, I agree with you, mate. I think when it comes to like console gaming,
Stop agreeing with me. Tell me
well,
I'm
no, it's
wrong.
unfortunately
Fucking hell, man.
stop telling the truth. But I think when it comes to like console gaming, and yes, PC Master Race, there's a silly like stereotype. But I think when it comes to like console, especially if you've got like kids, family, or like say if like you've got family coming over for like Christmas, Halloween, something like that, it's convenience. That is probably the main selling point. In all
It's
honesty.
social.
Exactly.
It's social. It goes back to that couch co-op situation that we discussed, or you have a turn, I have a turn, you have a turn, I have a turn. Most PCs are not in the main living space. You know, I mean, my PC's in my bedroom. Ian's PC's in his office. Tim's PC is in his bedroom. You know, you don't have a PC taking pride of place next to your 60-inch TV in your front room. So in order for you to have like a social gaming experience with your friends, come to my bedroom and let's play on my PC. No, put the console on and we'll play Tekken and we'll beat each other up, or we'll race on Forza, or we'll play, you know, we'll take it in turns playing Mario, or whatever your poison may be. You don't get the social experience of gaming on PC unless you're going online and using like a Discord server or something like that. But coming back to the Steam Deck, because I think you touched on it, and we said, what do you think? Tim said he thinks it's great, and that's it. I think that we've glossed over that, because I think it's really important to modern gaming. You know, handhelds. I mean, I remember the Game Boy, and I remember the what was the Sega? There was a Sega one, wasn't there, as well?
Oh, the VR thing.
What was
No,
Sega?
Did they have a handheld?
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Well, okay. The Game Boy was hugely popular. Yeah, the Game Boy, the first one, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, they were massively popular. But then I think that handheld gaming kind of died down because you couldn't... It comes down to miniaturization, doesn't it? You know, you couldn't have... When you talk about the Steam Deck, you have quite a decent PC in your hand. And it's only due to modern technology that you've been able to do that. So I think with the PSP, it kind of bombed. It wasn't particularly successful, and I think that it kind of fell by the wayside because we didn't have the technology to be able to make great gaming experiences compared to what you get from playing on a console or playing on a gaming PC. But now, your Steam Deck experience is the same as your PC experience.
And with that, like, I will take it to my grave. I thought the PSP was absolutely magnificent. Obviously, there was so many games that were like exclusive on the PSP, but I think maybe because it was smaller. I mean, this was before kind of like smartphones type thing. It was a small little smartphone, and oh my god, playing some of those games, like thinking about it, like they were so good. They were so good. Even like emulation software now, I'm not going to say sail the high seas, but you probably could. They still look absolutely fantastic. But I think it was a bit too ahead of its time.
I agree. I think the PSP was ahead of its time. That's probably the main reason why it failed. Other than that, I think people were expecting at the time for it to look like as good as the PlayStation itself. And the technology wasn't there yet at the time. But that's why I was really impressed when the Switch came out the first time, where they could actually have console-level graphics on a handheld. I think that was really a benchmark.
Well, you can get console-level graphics on a smartphone.
Well, now you can, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what I mean about the technology changing and the miniaturization. Everything's getting smaller. It was the Game Gear was the Sega one, by the way. Now
yeah.
Released in 1990. Now you're in a situation where you can everything's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you can put the power of a PC into a handheld device. And I think there's is it called a ROG Ally or something like that? There's a Steam
ROG.
Deck competitor, ROG. So you can put the power of a PC into a handheld now and give people that that gaming experience in the palm of their hand, which you never could do when you had during the time of the PSP. So part of me being ancient was like, why are they making handheld games? Because my experience of the Game Boy and the Game Gear and then the PSP were always, they just weren't very good in terms of compared to what you could do elsewhere with other hardware at the time. I'm sure the experience was great if you took it in isolation, but by comparison it wasn't anywhere near as good as playing on a legitimate games console or on a gaming PC. So I guess it's only, I've always had this idea, well, handheld gaming's toss. Well, it's never going to be any good. But then having this conversation with you guys now, I'm thinking, well, maybe the reason why the Steam Deck is successful is because it's putting the power of a PC in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, the technology's there. I don't want to be like the $1 million man, blah blah blah, but I mean, back in the day when I was like going to like festivals or like going out camping and stuff like that, and you've got like, say, a PSP or something like that, not only was it like, it was fantastic for gaming, but it was a mini computer. You could like watch films and stuff like that, and it was like, wow, this is really useful. I'm in the middle of bloody arse end of nowhere type thing, and it's like, huh, look at that. And then smartphones came out, and then it killed it, essentially.
And I think there's something to be said just by screen size, because you look at it, the consoles like the PlayStation, Xbox, they're designed for like the big TVs for multiple people to be able to use at once. So you get games that are designed for that. Versus your PC, it's just one screen that's right in front of one person's face. So that's a lot more customized, and you want a lot more individualized toward the person. And then when you go to the handheld, the screen gets even smaller. And I think the problem is when you go, as you get smaller, you kind of lose some of that gaming awesomeness. Because there's just something about seeing on a big screen, like even just seeing Tetris played on the side of a building. Looks awesome. Something about the size just makes it cool.
Yeah, but you hold it closer to your face.
I guess if you want to look like a dork.
So if when I'm playing on, or if I was playing on a console, I'm not sat with the screen 8 inches away from my face. But if I'm playing on a Steam Deck, then it probably will be 12 inches away from my face when I'm playing it, because that's how you would sit with a handheld device. So I hear what you're saying, but if you put your face close to your 32-inch TV, it's like a 60-inch TV, because it's all about perspective. So I hear you, and that's probably one of the reasons why I've always kind of avoided handheld gaming. Other than I'd like to be able to see where I'm going, and I tend to be the driver rather than the passenger. And I've been a parent for 18 years, so I don't really get the chance to sit and watch anything, because I've got to watch the fact that young children aren't trying to kill themselves by throwing themselves into rivers or whatever. So the screen size has always been something which I've always looked at and thought, well, I want to play on my 32-inch gaming monitor. I don't want to play on a 9-inch screen. But then I do play games on my mobile phone, on my cell phone, which is a much smaller screen.
But
definitely, I think it narrows down to what we were saying earlier. Console exclusivity and everything that goes along with it. Same with like the handhelds. I think it's just convenience at that point. It's just convenience.
I think a big one is you look ahead at the GTA 6. If that comes out, and if it's exclusive to one console, or whatever, then you're going to know that, okay, exclusives are going to be here for a while. But if it comes out and it goes to everywhere, which I'm pretty sure it will, then that's going to be, I think, kind of the nail in the coffin as far as a major title releasing on a console exclusive. I just don't see I don't think we're going to see any major stuff other than just kind of, PlayStation's always doing their thing. Xbox kind of has their thing, but I don't think we're going to see any major releases like that.
Yeah, exclusivity's over. I think that's clear. You can play God of War, which I think was a PlayStation title initially. You can play that on the Xbox now, and there's a lot of this comes down to cross-platform as well. But you're seeing the end of exclusivity, and that's because of market forces. That's because of the evolution of the gaming market, where people want to be able to play whatever they want to play, however they want to play it. And if you pigeonhole people into, you're a PlayStation gamer and you can play these games, and you're an Xbox gamer and you can play these games, and you can't talk to each other, you can't interact in the same space. Gaming is so big now, as we've discussed in a previous episode, with it being so much bigger than movies in terms of the amount of money that it makes, that they're realizing very, very quickly that you can't limit gamers, because they will rebel and they'll say, well, we're not going to have you dictating to me what I can and what I can't do. I want to do what I want to do, and I'll find a way.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Multi-platform. This is what I think developers now are realizing when it comes to exclusivity. Is it doesn't matter what you're playing on, but I want to play with my mates type thing. And so many games have got to this point now. It's actually a selling point, in all honesty. Hey, this is multi-platform. This is multi-platform. This is multi-platform. You can play with your friends. Doesn't matter what they're playing on. It's on this console, and PC. Maybe not the Switch, but we'll ignore that. But it's the multi-platforming of exclusivity that is really a big thing now, and it's a selling point.
It is a selling point, you're right. And I think that as we see more games becoming multi-platform, and we always mention Space Marine 2, which for the last 3 months I've been trying to get you to come and play with me again. You can play that with one PC gamer, one Xbox gamer, one PlayStation gamer, and I think that's great. And as more and more games become multi-platform, gamers who can be quite astute are saying, well, if I can play this game on all 3 of these platforms, then why can't you release that game on all 3 of these platforms? Because I want to play this with my friend, but he's got an Xbox and I've got a PlayStation, and what all you're doing is just pissing us off by not allowing us to do that. And the gaming companies are realizing that people are very savvy, they're very aware of the market, aware of the technology. They don't buy the bullshit, you can't play it on the... It's like with GTA 6, it's not coming out on the PC. It's coming out on the Xbox and on the PlayStation, and it'll probably be a year or 6 months before we can play it on the PC. And that kind of as a PC gamer, that pisses me off, because I'm like, there is no excuse why you don't give that to PC gamers as well. There's no excuse. And it kind of leaves, and it actually makes me think, do you know what? Will I bother to play GTA 6? The answer is yes. But will I bother to play GTA 6 when it releases? Because you're doing me a disservice by making me wait. Why should I have to wait? Because there's no justifiable reason. I'd love for someone from Rockstar to come and tell me what their reason is for not allowing me to play this on a PC at the same time.
Well, that's it. It's frustrating. I know we keep saying, we're PC gamers, but kind of understand the frustration of consoles and the exclusivity, but there is absolutely no bloody reason why GTA 6 can't come out on the PC at the same time it does on consoles. Consoles now are running, well, basically AMD technology, essentially. Why can't that just instantly come out on the PC? Apart from Moolah, essentially. It's
Well, I know for Power World, they had to do some kind of thing where it took them a long time to get cross-platform between the Steam version and the Xbox version. Something about, I guess it was almost like they were building 2 separate games at the same time. But a game that I think does a really good job of cross-platform is actually Ark Survival Ascended. That one, you can be on the computer, you can be on the Xbox, you can be PC, you can all play together in the same server, and that's great. I think that's the future, and I think that's every game should aspire to be like that.
Ark, I'll give you that. Actually, that's a valid point. One of my mates, he runs an Ark server, and I think Ark, especially considering the amount of players they can get on that server was actually kind of ahead of its time type thing. And I think people are like playing catch up, you know.
I mean, what other games do that that you guys are aware of?
Rust, I think Rust does that. That's a valid point. Give me 5 minutes, I'll think about it.
Does Fortnite, Tim, Al, does Fortnite?
I wouldn't touch that. Nope. Al, how you doing, mate?
Yes, you can you can play on Xbox and on PC and play on the same server on Fortnite. Yes, you can.
Al's the resident Fortnite expert. He loves that game so much.
I do love that game. I do. No, it's the argument that there's money involved in, because I know that some people would say, oh, the reason why they're not releasing GTA 6 at the same time on the PC as they are on the PlayStation is because they can sell it twice. Well, I don't buy that. I don't think that there's... And I know they may say, like they did with GTA 5, oh, well, this is an enhanced edition. But if you own GTA... I have GTA 5 on my old PlayStation. I think it's the PS4, I think, where I had GTA 5 and I had it on PlayStation 4. I haven't bought it on PC because it's going to be the same experience. So why do I need to? And the same applies. If I had GTA 6 on the Xbox, I wouldn't then buy it on PC as well, because what's going to be different about it?
See, that's the thing. At that point, and I remember when GTA 5 came out, it was on the PS3 and 360. That's how long it bloody was ago. I don't think it was even PS4. But I was like, you know what? I'll just wait. I'm not sure if that's just my mentality when it comes to like gaming, but it's like I'll wait because I know eventually the better version will come out on PC. I'm not gonna buy both, you know.
It was on PS4. I never had a PS3.
Oh well, then you probably might have got the PS3 version.
I had a PS2 and then a PS4. I skipped the 3. And I don't have a PS5 because I kind of realised that PC gaming is where I want to be.
That's perfectly valid, mate. What I think they did as well, they released it, as I said, originally PS3, but they might have done the enhanced version for the PS4, which was the PC release, and that's why they were like, maybe buy this one instead, you know?
So the GTA 6 that comes out day one is going to be the shittiest version of GTA 6 that we're ever going to see, because they're just going to keep adding things to it and make it better and better and better. So it's going to be rough. There's going to have server issues. You know, it's going to be like any other game launch. But I think that part of the reason, one of the benefits of having that delay before it goes to PC is then they get to work out those bugs. But that's really just a bullshit reason, and the only reason is because they're getting paid.
Yeah, I'm not buying that, and I'm not buying that they're getting paid either.
Really?
I mean, they are getting paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's no logical reason for them to, because people are not going to buy it again. You know, if you're listening to this and you think, yes, I'll play GTA 6 on my PlayStation 5 and then I'm going to buy it on PC as well, then please correct me, because I don't think that people are going to do that. It doesn't make any sense. And this idea of bugs and things, I'm not buying that either, Ian. I'm sorry. I'm going to just, you know, Tim's always agreeing with me and I'm always disagreeing with you. I think that's
that's the show.
I think it's a crap excuse. You know, oh, we'll release it on PlayStation and then let you iron out the bugs before we release it on PC. Nah. PC gamers are far more forgiving when it comes to bugs than what console gamers are. Console gamers have historically wanted a title that works out the box straight away, where PC gamers will take a day one patch and say, fair enough, it's part of being a gamer, because we're used to early access titles and we're used to demos and we're used to indie games, so we expect a rough ride. Console gamers want the premium experience out the box, so there's complete logical fallacies with your argument.
And this is going back to like the double dipping, and also hats off to you, mate. Not technically, but when it comes to like day one releases, especially if you want to do like multiplayer and stuff like that, or when it comes to like exclusive, the servers get overloaded. There's no point doing it anymore, because you probably won't be able to play the game even if you booked a bloody day off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna happen with GTA 6. You can't.
Oh, I don't know, mate.
Oh, really?
You're talking about the biggest game release in. I'm going to say that the biggest game release in history is GTA 6. The most anticipated game release in history is GTA 6, right? And it is a predominantly single-player game. Yeah, you don't need to worry about multiplayer servers and things like that. The amount of money that they are pouring into this project, this is going to be a flawless launch.
It's billions at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. They can't afford. I mean, we will see when it launches, but they can't afford to release something half baked.
The way that I'd probably put it is this is like the next, Avengers Endgame or like Infinity Ward of gaming, Like this is the be all and be end all, Get it done. Don't bollocks it up, essentially.
All right, well, mark the time and the date for the records. We have a prediction in the books. The GTA 6 will launch flawlessly. We'll try to hold on to those predictions. Yep. I think that GTA 6 is going to have the same first day hiccups and bugs as everyone else, and there's people are going to be bitching about this and that, and I think it's unavoidable. I don't think it's possible to have a flawless launch.
Look, people bitch, right? And people will always find something wrong with it, and it's about the weight of expectation, isn't it? So because it is so anticipated, you're going to have people that are going to complain, regardless. Yeah, that's just the way it's going to be. But I don't see how they can get it wrong, unless I'm just completely misunderstanding. But it will either be a download onto my PlayStation or my Xbox, or it'll be a disc that I install onto my PlayStation or my Xbox, which has been extensively tested. It's the most expensive game in history. It's the most anticipated game in history, and it comes from a developer with a extremely positive track record of releases.
Is it the most anticipated game in history?
I would say it is. I genuinely think GTA 6 is probably the most anticipated game in history.
I would have to argue Skyrim 2.
No,
wrong.
It's Bethesda. It's going to be shit.
Well,
you need mods.
Okay, so there's another prediction. Mark the time and the dates.
It's not a prediction, it's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I will fucking die on this bloody grave. I say GTA 6 is the most anticipated game in history.
Well, I guess there's
Definitely.
You can't really measure that, I guess, other than just by how successful it is.
No,
It's going to be very successful.
I predict that it will not be the most successful in history. Or if it is, it won't be for long.
Well, you die on that grave too, then, mate.
I mean, if we all agree, there's no show.
Yeah, valid. I'll give you that, mate.
All right, so what the hell were we talking about? Consoles.
Exclusivity.
No, hang on, because we were saying that it's the most anticipated game in history, yeah, and you're saying that it isn't, right? And I'm saying, and you say, well, how can you prove that? Well, because there's the metrics, isn't there? So the GTA 6 trailer got 475 million views on its first day.
It broke YouTube records, didn't it?
It broke YouTube records. How many views did the Skyrim trailer get on its first day? Don't answer that because you don't know. But the answer is nowhere near as many as that. Right? So when there's metrics which you can measure where you can see whether something is highly anticipated, and something which is hitting 500 million views in a single day is extremely highly anticipated.
I'm just going to say, I don't want to do the maths, but that's like 1/11 of like the world's population watched the GTA 6 trailer and we're like, yep, like that. They're fine. Like they're fine, you know.
Isn't like the most successful YouTube video of all time Gangnam Style?
Probably that was a great song.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
No, don't copyright it.
Oh, I was just barking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh
No
yeah,
co-
sorry.
no
yeah,
copyright
you did
here.
it yeah. Marshy has something to say about that.
I have no doubt that the GTA 6 launch will be successful and the game will be successful, and everybody's going to say how great it is. I have no doubt of that whatsoever. But I just don't know if it's going to be like the greatest of all time.
I would put money on it.
The
I'm
greatest
not
what of
betting,
all
man.
time? Like the greatest game of all time, or
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying it's the greatest game of all time. That's Half-Life 2. We've already covered this before. And it will always be that way. But in terms of the anticipation, in terms of the expectation, I don't think anything comes close to GTA 6. And I think the next game which will come anywhere near it is going to be GTA 7.
Which we'll see in about like we might not even be alive at that point.
I'll be dead by then, mate, so it's fine.
Oh mate.
So what was the previous record holder before GTA 6 trailer knocked it out? Did it say in the...
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. It wasn't. This was just about me proving you wrong. So.
And in all honesty, like it's proving hype, and there's no doubting about 500 million people essentially. GTA 6 has got a lot of hype. There's no doubt about it, and it doesn't look bad.
You know, I will say that wasn't just on YouTube. That was across all platforms. That was like on TokTik and all of the other places where the trailer was displayed. It wasn't just on YouTube. It was everywhere. So yeah. Anyway, we've moved completely away from what we were talking about, which is the end of exclusivity.
Technically, we were still talking about exclusivity because GTA is not going to be released on the PC at the same time. Then we got a little bit sidetracked, but it's still an exclusive, technically.
Okay, so I want to bring it back to consoles and this idea that consoles are dying. And I think that can we all agree that they're not. There's a new PlayStation, there's a new Xbox, and we're going to throw something into the mix here, which is the new Steam console, which has been rumoured and it's appeared on some websites recently. The Valve Fremont, I think, is the code name for it, and this is going to be a Valve console running Steam OS.
I didn't even realise that was a thing. I thought they were going for like the whole Steam Deck thing. And you know what? Good. Get into the console market. If anyone's going to bloody do it, may as well be Valve,
God, Valve will do anything but make Half-Life 3.
It's a fair point. It is a fair point, and again, I think that Valve are seeing the success of they own the PC gaming market. We've covered this before in a previous episode. They have, is it 90%? I think it was that we said before. Was it 90 or 70? I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But they have an extensive market share when it comes to PC sales, PC game sales. And it makes sense for them to say, well, actually, we want another slice of the pie, so let's bring out a console as well, and it's going to happen. Will it challenge? Will it be a challenger for the Xbox, whatever it is, the Xbox Next or the PlayStation 6? That is the question that I'm going to put to you. Will it challenge them?
I think yes and no. Everyone has a Steam account, I'd like to think. But that's just me looking through like kind of like rosy glasses, because I had one since Half-Life 2 came out type thing. I assume people have Steam accounts. I couldn't really name someone who has like say an Xbox or like a PlayStation one. I think what they're doing with that is a very good idea. Personally, would it challenge it? Yes. Will it defeat it? I don't know. I'm not a console person, honestly.
I think no matter what happens, we as the consumers are benefiting and gaining from it because, gaming's just getting more convenient, more mobile, better graphics, more immersive, better and better every day.
It is. It is.
In 2019, there was 1 billion Steam accounts.
No surprise there, mate.
And
No
it's now,
surprise there.
it's now 2025.
And one was in North Korea. Or was it 2 in North Korea?
Probably.
No, there.
I don't know. I don't know. So Steam is extremely popular, as we all know, and as we covered in the past. Steam is extremely popular, and the Valve console is going to give people access to their Steam libraries on their TVs, in their gaming spaces, in their social gaming spaces. And as we've already discussed in terms of the actual hardware that goes into consoles, it's AMD. It's essentially mid-tier, mid-range PC hardware that goes into them. And I don't think this
Light
is
way
really,
of putting it.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm a very polite person, as you may have realised. I don't see the Steam console being any different. It's not going to be a high-end PC because they're going to want to be able to sell it at the kind of amount of money that you would pay for a PlayStation or pay for an Xbox. They're not going to go, here's the new Steam console, and it's going to cost you $1,500. Because people would say, well, I'm not going to buy that because I've got my PC. They need to kind of aim it so it's accessible price-wise, because I guess this is an opportunity for them to convert PC gamers who are very familiar with the Steam architecture and environment, convert them into console gamers by saying, well, you can play all of your Steam games now, but you can play them on a console instead.
You think the new Steam, everything's going to be sold at a loss? We're more expensive to make than it is to sell?
I think that, yes. I think that seems to be the way that it goes with all consoles, isn't it? Because as we said, Steam is a game seller. They're not Valve, not Steam. Valve is a shop front.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's a store.
It is.
Steam is Amazon, basically for digital downloads, and the Steam console is a way of them getting their storefront in front of more people. So yeah, it makes market sense for them to sell the actual physical console at a price point where people are going to want to buy it, because how they make their money is by people buying other people's games on their platform
And not playing them.
and not playing.
Well, I think that's actually kind of like got to the perfect crescendo, essentially. Yeah, exclusivity is essentially dead. We didn't really brush upon I think we went on a bit of a rampart, but Xbox and Sony, that they're now selling first titles to each other type thing, and then with the accommodation of Steam going into the console market. The only exception really now is just Nintendo. Everything else you could just play it on your Steam console if you were to buy one, essentially.
Yeah, and you're in a situation where Nintendo's grip on the handheld console market is already being challenged by the Steam Deck, and will be challenged by, because it looks like from what I've read there, Microsoft are looking at making a handheld console as well. So, will Nintendo realise, well, they can't corner that market because the other companies have too much money and can outperform them with marketing, outperform them with content, outperform them with game libraries, and outperform them with the actual quality of the device as well? Will Nintendo fall foul of the exclusivity issue and realise that they can't actually remain exclusive anymore? Ian said they will always be exclusive. Or was that you, Tim? I can't remember.
One or
It
two,
was
mate.
me.
One or two.
It was Ian. But you own a Switch, don't you?
I do, and to the point, Nintendo's always going to Nintendo. There's always going to be a Nintendo of some sort, whether you call it the NES or you call it the Switch. One way or the other, I don't see that any future where there's not like some Nintendo something in the living room.
Well, Nintendo they've not always, but after the GameCube.
The Wii.
Well, this is what I'm getting to. The Wii was a departure from traditional consoles. You had the wand, and it was all motion sensors and all that kind of stuff. So, and the Wii Fit, and it was a huge departure from your traditional sit down with a controller and play games, which you got with the Super Nintendo and with the GameCube. So I think they realised that they couldn't challenge the big boys when it came to console gaming. So instead they said, well, we still want to make games, we still want to be a successful gaming company, but we can't beat these guys, so let's do something different. And that's where the Wii came in, and that's where the Switch has come in.
Yeah, definitely. I remember back in the day, I never got. I loved the GameCube, but I never got a Wii. I felt like it was a bit of a downgrade of a console, but I did get the like PlayStation Move, I think it was called, where you had like
Oh yeah,
you had the controllers.
I did.
That was so much better than the Switch, except it was on the PlayStation. It was so much better. Whereas Wii, how about this? Nintendo are good at doing innovations. They're not very good at perfecting them.
I'd say that's fair.
I think that they're innovative in terms of the Wii was very innovative. The Switch isn't innovative. I mean, yeah, is it like you can move, take things off and put them together and use it as a controller on your TV or however it works? I haven't looked into the Switch because I don't like kiddie games. So that's always what I've considered Nintendo to be. You know, it's a gaming system for children essentially.
Yes.
And I'm a grown man, so I would never in a month of Sundays. Sorry, and I would never in a month of Sundays be seen with a Switch in my hand or playing Wii bowling or whatever the latest fucking pile of shit is that's coming out of Japan, right? So
That's a firm stance to take, sir.
It is, and I've always been firm when it comes to my stances. So they've always been innovative, but they've never been mainstream, and I think that they've realised that, and credit to them for saying, look, we can't challenge Sony, we can't challenge Microsoft. We simply don't have the ability to challenge these huge companies at the aim of being in the front room, dominating game system of choice. We can't do it. So let's try and capture our little niche bit of the market. And have they been successful with that? You know, and I think that the answer is yes.
I mean, when I think of Nintendo, the only things that really pop to mind: Mario, Pokemon, Zelda.
Yeah, games for kids.
Maybe Falcon 64, stuff like that. But they're very exclusively, ironically, niche.
I mean, can you get grown-up games on the Switch, Ian?
Oh yeah, for sure. You can get. I remember playing. Was it Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube? So Switch, yeah, you can get like anything that's modern. Like if it's on PlayStation and Xbox, then there's a decent chance it's also on Switch, even if it's adulty.
I'm just gonna say, the best version of Resident Evil came out on the GameCube, and that was like 2003. Was it 0 or something like that? I don't know. But either way, it was like the best version of it. But apart from that, personally, I mean, I haven't used one for ages. Can't think of an adult game on the bloody GameCube.
Well, it was
the
best.
GameCube? Nintendo's.
It was also the best FPS game, wasn't it, in GoldenEye?
And Perfect Dark. But that's N64, mate. Yeah, those two were great games. Absolutely, like, game-changing for, like, consoles when it comes to FPS. The same could be said, like, for Halo with, like, the original Xbox. But, yeah, game-changing. Anyway, personally, apart from Nintendo, I think exclusivity is essentially dead at this point. Everyone's sharing the same thing. There may be, like, a time barrier, but one way or another, you're going to have to get to the point of, like, yeah, you'll wait a few extra months, and then you'll just get it.
It's my turn to say I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that's all we have time for this week. Be sure to check us out on gog.fm for our website, and if you're on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Once again, this is the Grumpy Old Gamer podcast. I'm Ian, and we'll see you in the next one.